Hello everybody, welcome back to my garden. It's been a long time since I've done a video update, so I thought I would show you around a couple things. This is my cut flower garden. It's the second year that I've done this, and I'm still learning about this particular type of gardening. I have my lovely rose garden, and I've got a vegetable garden. Well, I've got various vegetable beds, and I've got some herb gardens, but a cut flower garden is something I wanted to try. As a practicing pagan, I thought it would be nice to have an area where I could regularly come and get flowers as offerings to put on altars. And just as a nice human being, I thought it'd be nice to have a place where I could cut little gifts for loved ones. So I've got some bachelor's buttons growing, some zinnias that have bloomed. I did transplant a few calendulas here, and I'm hoping that they will self-seed. They regularly self-seed in my veggie patch. I started growing them down there and in my herb garden, and they will take over. So figured, you know what, these are great for a cut flower garden too. Cosmos are getting very tall. They haven't bloomed yet. Just lots of different flowers in here. Dahlias. It's going to be beautiful. I mean, it already is beautiful. I'm really happy with it so far in the second year. I wanted to show you a couple other things going on up here. I transplanted my sunchokes, my Jerusalem artichokes up here. They were in a container. Now I know these are a native flower. I know these have a reputation for spreading, but as they are a native flower, I am okay with that, especially up here along the fence, and they already look happier. They really do. Last year when I moved them, I harvested some of the tubers, which they are edible, and I was really happy with that. And I think they'll be better off up here. Hopefully they'll grow and they'll flower more frequently with the space. Now, you can see my lawn. My husband mowed it yesterday. We are not keen on mowing. We're not obsessive about it. Partly because we're very busy people. Me with my writing and teaching and all the other things that I do in the house, and my husband has a lot going on, and we're also, it takes a lot of time and energy. It's been hot, it's been rainy, so he finally came up here and did it. It got quite tall, this whole area with our badminton net now that I got him for Father's Day. There was a little mini meadow going on here, which, as sad as it is to cut, I mean, we want to be able to play badminton. I need to be able to come up here and work in the rose garden, to harvest elderberries. It was a little uncomfortable to harvest, not the elderberries, but the elder flowers recently. But we did let it grow for quite a while, and I'm a big proponent of letting your lawns grow as much as you can sometimes to provide habitat and food, but we leave this corner up here. This is how a lot of this back lawn looked. So I came up, I cut a bunch of the wildflowers growing here, the black-eyed Susans, Queen Anne's lace, fleabane, things like that. But we've left this area. You can see wood sorrel growing strong in here. Is that fleabane, asters? I gotta double check, but some mullein. And it's a mix. I know it's a mix of some things that some people might consider them not obnoxiously invasive. I know Queen Anne's lace is kind of naturalized at this point, but it does compete with a lot of native flowers. I believe the black-eyed Susans are native. I will double check. But we do leave this area to go pretty wild. Now, you know that I have some other areas in the garden that I more actively grow native varieties. But, you can only do so much at a time with your budget, with your availability as far as the effort. the work that it takes to build those beds, to eradicate some of the more invasive varieties. So it takes time. So give yourself time and space and grace. And even if you can't fill your whole yard with native species, at least let a corner go wild. There will be some native species in there. There will be some, you know, not so native species, and just let that area go. You know, maybe you'll repopulate it with all native species someday, or you'll turn it into a more cultivated bed. Like I do have my rose garden. Those aren't natives, but it's important to give some space, allow some space to be wild. The animals need it. The pollinators love this. I mean, they're not going to show up on this camera, but there's some tiny little insects just loving it over here. I know a lot of the wasps enjoy it. The bees love it. This is a hiding spot for animals. I will eventually cut into some of this. I don't know if you can tell, but back there in the middle is a little hawthorn that I planted in this. This is actually a stump, a maple stump that continues to grow. And I think it's shading out my hawthorn, so I might have to get in there with that. But for as long as I can, I like to let this area just go wild. We've got some blackberry brambles in here that the birds love, chipmunks love. So it's a really pleasant space. And you know what else? You know who else loves this? The dragonflies. They love to land on these tall grasses, and they are hunting the mosquitoes and other noxious critters. And the fireflies love it. The fireflies need areas like this. So yes, we do have to mow eventually. We have to have some areas that are safe for my kiddo and us to play in, to work in. We live in an area that we have a tick problem. So Lyme disease is a big concern, and you want to be safe, but you want to have a balance. Those wild areas are so important for wildlife, and they're really pleasant to look at as well. So give yourself a little grace. Pat yourself on the back for the efforts that you are putting towards your gardening, for wildlife gardens, native habitats, etc. But give yourself some grace and let a little corner go wild, and it'll be worth it. Have fun, get out there, get in touch with the land, and enjoy.